Okay. All right, well, thank you to most of my board members here and Claude here for attending today. This is Michelle Shaw. She's the program manager of the Animal Research Issues at the Humane Society of the United States. And some of you were here last year when we had this presentation about talking about buying cruelty-free products. So she's just going to talk about animal research in general and hopefully share some cruelty-free shopping tips with us. So go ahead, Michelle. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Catherine. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh, is there any way I can show you my presentation? Actually, it says it's disabled.
You should be a co-host now, I think.
Catherine, I think you may have frozen. I'll send you a. All right.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. My Wi-Fi died on me. So we're back. I think we're ready to go now. Thank you.
It's okay. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm really excited to be here speaking with you today. Just to give you a little, well, first I'll introduce myself. As Catherine mentioned, because she did freeze up a little bit if no one else heard, my name is Michelle Shaw, and I'm the program manager of corporate outreach at the Humane Society of the United States. I work in our Animal Research Issues department. And I'm really excited to be here today because you guys are the future of animal law. And I'm even more excited because, to give you my background, I started a student animal legal defense fund chapter at my school. I also went to law school in Florida at Florida A&M. I was from the Central Florida area, so I went to law school in Orlando. And when I went to start my chapter, they laughed at me when I called main campus to tell them that I wanted to start a group based on animal law. It was like a joke, like they had never heard of it. So you guys are in a really great position now to be, for animal law to just be so accepted. And I'm excited for all of you. And so if I can help you in any way in your paths, please reach out because, again, this is where I started too. So I'm excited. But anyways, I actually, the way I got my job is I invited someone from HSUS to speak to my chapter. And we did a kind of a lobbying 101. And several months later, I actually got an internship with HSUS working in government affairs. So I was working on Capitol Hill, and I finished my last year of law school. And actually, a few weeks before graduation, I was hired by the campaigns department. So that's how I started my career at HSUS. I think 2 days after my last final exam, I packed up my car and moved from Florida to Washington, D.C. But I've always been very passionate about cruelty-free cosmetics, and I haven't been working on this my entire time at HSUS. I actually started working on the fur-free campaign, so that was encouraging designers and companies to stop designing with fur. I've also worked on lead ammunition issues, and I've also worked on a lot of other wildlife abuse issues. And for a short time, I actually worked for a nonprofit based out of Geneva, working on reptile skins, and that was mostly with luxury companies that were, using python skins and alligator skins for purses and shoes. So I'm actually fairly new working on this campaign. I started earlier this year. And so to give you a background, if those of you are not very familiar with HSUS, we work on just so many different topics. We're the largest animal protection organization in the United States, and we work to stop the cruelest practices. So we work on puppy mills, we work on factory farming, we work on ending the fur campaign or the fur trade, trophy hunting, and then of course animal cosmetics testing, as well as animals used in research of all kinds of medical testing and things like that. And we provide direct care for animals around the country and throughout the world. So we have an international affiliate called Humane Society International, and they work around the globe to combat animal cruelty. And so my current work, actually, I deal with companies. So I work with companies to encourage them to adopt new practices, to develop policy changes so they will eventually phase out animal testing. And one of those things that we do is we encourage companies to work with us to lobby change. So, we have a lot of state bills. We have a lot of, well, we don't have a lot of federal, we have one federal bill. And we work with these companies to endorse these bills because obviously legislators see that if a company supports it, then it might be the right thing to do. So moving along into the issue, a lot of people really believe that animal testing is a thing of the past, that it just isn't happening anymore. And I can't tell you how often I hear this and how many big companies are actually telling me this. So I've had some calls with some very large cosmetic companies in the past, and let's say one cosmetic retailer, and they actually told me that they didn't think that animal testing was still happening. So it's kind of shocking, and yet this retailer actually doesn't have anything on their website saying that they have a stance on animal testing, which many large corporations do. And before I get too far along with this, I do want to define cosmetics. So cosmetics isn't just your lipsticks and mascaras. This is shampoos, conditioners, body washes, shaving creams, even like wipes that you use. Those are all actually defined as cosmetics. So this is a huge issue because 500,000 animals are impacted every single year around the globe because of animal testing. So we have the most common are rabbits, mice, rats, guinea pigs. These are all used to assess the safety of cosmetics products for cosmetics products and their ingredients. And obviously this testing is incredibly cruel, it's unnecessary, and it's just archaic. So there are several tests that can be performed that expose animals to cosmetic testing. One of the worst is that animals like mice and rats are actually subjected to repeat dose testing. So what happens with this is the animals are force-fed for up to 3 months a product, and then they are killed afterwards. And this is a lot of times to determine how much can we give to an animal to make it actually lethal, it's kind of ridiculous information that is unnecessary to us anyways. I mean, how much shampoo can I drink before I die? Like, it's just kind of ridiculous. And rabbits, as you can see in this photo, so rabbits are still subjected to the Draize eye test. So this is where they have chemicals placed in their eyes, and this will check for redness, ulcers, bleeding. And this was actually developed by FDA scientists in the 1940s. So again, it's archaic testing. It's stuff that we've found isn't necessary. We have chemicals that have been deemed safe for use in cosmetics and all kinds of products. So it's really up to these companies to kind of get with the times and eliminate these tests. And then to talk a little bit more about testing that's done, guinea pigs are used and they have chemicals rubbed into their shaved skin. And mice have substances applied to their ears to observe for chemical reactions. Or I'm sorry, allergic reactions. And again, at the end of these tests, all the animals are killed. So they're killed by just awful ways, such as suffocation, neck breaking, decapitation, and none of them are given any kind of pain relief. So it's honestly, it's absolutely awful, it's cruel and not necessary at all. And the reason it's not necessary is, like I mentioned, there are thousands of ingredients that have a history of safe use that can be used to formulate new and innovative products without a need for this new testing. So obviously we have new companies every day coming out that have, you know, amazing products. And a lot of them are vegan, they're cruelty-free. And these companies are showing us that this kind of testing is not needed to come up with innovative products. Innovative products can be formulated with existing product formulations. So one of the things about this is that when you're using non-animal tests, it's actually a lot cheaper and it's a lot faster, because some of these tests that we're using, like I said, where rats and mice are force-fed substances, some of these tests go on for 3 months. And not to get off the topic of cosmetics, but when we're talking about dogs used in testing, there's a pesticide test that's used, that's a 9-month test. So it's honestly, it's a waste of time and it's completely unnecessary. So why are companies continuing to rely on animal testing? The FDA does not require that they test on animals. The FDA simply requires this company to be accountable and say that their products are actually safe, which can be done without animal testing. However, some of these new ingredients are actually not developed solely for cosmetics. So that's where we have a little bit of a problem. New ingredients may be tested on animals to satisfy requirements from other regulatory entities, including those in the US or abroad. And most of the animal testing that occurs is actually happening because of requirements from China. So hopefully we will be seeing some changes in China in the next year. They just put out some sort of regulatory statement. Now, we don't really know what it means yet, but our hope is that they will not continue to require that these cosmetics that come into the country will need to still be tested. So anyways, right now, if you don't know, the Chinese government does conduct mandatory animal tests on all cosmetic products that are imported into the country. So special use cosmetics is the worst, because this is subject to mandatory animal testing regardless of where they're manufactured. So special use cosmetics is going to be your hair dyes, your skin lighteners, hair removal products. So those are going to be subject to mandatory animal testing in China. And the government can conduct animal tests on items pulled from shelves. So let's say you have a product that you love and they supposedly have a stance against animal testing and they choose to sell their product in China. Well, the Chinese government can tell them, well, they're not really telling them, because what they do is they actually test the product. But there's no way around it. So basically, if you are buying from a company that does sell their products in China, unfortunately, they really can't be considered cruelty-free. But what can you do to ensure that the products you're buying are actually free from animal testing is the Leaping Bunny program is really the best way to determine that that a product is cruelty-free. So it's kind of the gold standard for cruelty-free certification. There are many other cruelty-free certifications, or you might just see a bunny on the packaging. And to tell you the truth, like, if you're trying to avoid animal testing, the least you can do, just look at the package and just look for something. Something is better than nothing as far as animal testing is concerned. So while the Leaping Bunny is really like the highest standard, you know, if you're trying to eliminate things that are tested on animals, just please look before you purchase them. And if you don't see anything, don't buy it. There are so many products out there that at least have some statement on animal testing, whether it's the final product or whether it's the ingredients. But right now I'm going to go over why the Leaping Bunny program is actually so great. And it's because they, well, let me first tell you about the Leaping Bunny program. So first, we are actually an affiliate of Leaping Bunny program. So we have been a member since they were founded. And the reason the Leaping Bunny program was established is because in the 1990s, there were all these stories that came out, I want to say in like Time magazine or something, that basically exposed the beauty industry to testing on all kinds of animals. And I believe at that time it was things like cats and dogs were actually used for cosmetic testing, which of course was like such a huge shock to the public. So due to public pressure, these companies pledged to end their testing on animals. But because the FDA does not in any way regulate the use of, let's say, no animal testing pledges and like, you know, just labeling on a product, anyone could say that they were not testing on animals. So this was a problem because we were having companies that were known to still be testing on animals saying that they did not test on animals because they didn't want to, you know, look bad to consumers. So because of this, the CCIC created the Leaping Bunny program, and the CCIC actually certifies companies that are based here in North America. They actually go to the facilities, they do yearly recertification kind of evaluation type things. And then there is a partner organization that is outside of the US that certifies companies that are overseas. So with Leaping Bunny, the companies cannot allow any new testing for products or their ingredients, and they must collect assurances from suppliers that they will not provide newly tested ingredients. They also may not sell their products in China, and they must be open to these independent audits that I told you about. So if a company says, no, we don't want you to come audit, or we can't do it this year, they will lose their certification. So it is a very strict standard. And these companies also must commit to the program every single year to ensure that they're maintaining cruelty-free status. Because the problem with this and with other certification programs, and I'm just going to use, for example, what I used to work on, and that's the fur-free campaign. We would have a company and they would commit to being fur-free. Well, 5 years later, we would be looking through something and we'd see, oh, well, that's lovely. True Religion or Macy's, they said they were going to be fur-free. Wait, well, now they're selling these items that have fur. And it was really crazy, but it happened all the time. And unfortunately, it was because we didn't have the staff to go through to all these companies to make sure they actually weren't selling these products. So we would have to go to the company and say, hey, we see that you're selling fur. And obviously they would either drop it or it would be we would do a campaign against this company. But in this instance, the Leaping Bunny is amazing because they actually recertify a company year after year. So sometimes you will be shopping for a company and they've been on the Leaping Bunny for years and all of a sudden they disappear. And this actually happened to me with Urban Decay. I was obsessed with their line. And I'm not trying to say that they have like bad practices or that they do use animal testing, but I believe that because they were purchased by L'Oreal, they are no longer on the Leaping Bunny program. So if you have a favorite company, they may disappear. And you know, it's always a great thing for you to contact the company. Say, hey, you used to be on Leaping Bunny. What happened? What are you doing that made this change? You know, are they now testing in China? Did they change suppliers? That supplier may use ingredients that they cannot validate as being not tested on animals. And so shopping cruelty-free is seriously easier than ever right now. In November of 2011, the Leaping Bunny program celebrated their 15-year anniversary. They had 400 companies certified. And in 2020, so now 9 years later, there are nearly 2,000 companies that are Leaping Bunny certified. So it's really hard to say like, oh, I can't find a company that, that makes this or makes that isn't cruelty free, because they're out there now. It's such a prestigious program. So many companies want to be a part of it, even smaller companies. We see a lot of companies that are just starting out, that's the first thing that they try to do is get their Leaping Bunny certification. And so there is a Leaping Bunny app. You can also look up companies on their website. And again, when you're shopping, just try to look for something. Look for some sort of certification that a company is cruelty-free. But again, Leaping Bunny is the gold standard. So you may see just a bunny that says this product is not tested on animals, but that technically could just mean that the final product is not tested on animals. And it's not saying that the ingredients that went into that were not. So again, it's a very tricky and complicated situation, but Leaping Bunny kind of takes all the legwork out of it by just shopping with their list. And so many companies now, you can find a filter that says, cruelty-free products. So if you're shopping on Amazon, if you're shopping on Target, if you're online, in their little, filter section, you can sort by cruelty-free cosmetics or cruelty-free products altogether. So things are definitely changing. And I think it's because companies know that consumers don't want to support this kind of testing any longer. And again, if you do have a company that you love and you're not sure about them, reach out or even send me a message. I'll reach out to them because I love to do this kind of stuff. So yeah, send me some companies and I'll find out what their stance is on animal testing if you can't find it yourself. So I would like to just talk about what we do globally. We have a Be Cruelty-Free campaign that was established with HSUS and our international affiliate, which I mentioned, Humane Society International. And Humane Society International was actually involved with the efforts to pass laws in the EU and other countries. So that's when the Be Cruelty-Free campaign was launched in 2012. And we work on several priorities. We work on changing cosmetics laws to prevent new testing from cosmetics products and also prohibit the sale of cosmetics that have been newly tested on animals. We promote the development of non-animal methods, and we also work with regulators to train them both here in the US and abroad on the use of non-animal methods. We also educate consumers about the importance of shopping cruelty-free. And then we also partner with companies to help them move away from animal testing and also lobby for change. So right now we have 40 countries that have full or partial bans on cosmetics testing. And this includes all of the European Union countries, Australia, India, Israel, New Zealand, Norway, South Korea. Colombia just have just enacted a law against animal testing. So it's amazing to see this kind of progress. And our goal for the Be Cruelty-Free campaign is actually to ban cosmetics testing in all major beauty markets by the end of 2023. So unfortunately, in the US, we're a little behind. So California became the first state to prohibit the sale of newly tested cosmetics. And that law was passed in 2018. And so Nevada and Illinois, they passed similar laws in 2019, but all three of those laws went into effect January 1st of this year. And there are several other states that are considering legislation addressing cosmetic animal testing, and we expect to see those states introduced in 2021. And I know that there may be people from different states in this group right now. So Just to tell you what states that we will likely be working on: Maryland, that's actually where I'm at now, Virginia, Hawaii, Rhode Island, Vermont, New York, and New Jersey. So if you're from any of those states, definitely reach out to me and we can discuss ways to lobby your legislators. And then unfortunately, I don't see Florida ever doing state legislation, but maybe, who knows? That would be wonderful. And by the way, I'm still a Florida voter. I call Florida my home. I'll be back in about 2 years, working remotely. So I'm definitely not trying to criticize Florida because I want to see changes there. But while we are working on these state laws, we really want to see legislation on the federal level, because we don't want to see a kind of a piecework of state laws. We want to see a passage of a federal law. And so that's where we're going to get into the Humane Cosmetics Act. So this law has been around this legislation has been around for several years now. It's reintroduced year after year. This year it has much stronger language. So it was reintroduced in November of 2019, and this will prohibit cosmetics testing on animals in the US. This will prohibit the sale of cosmetics that have been tested on animals, including if the testing was carried out outside of the United States. So this law would actually, when it goes into effect, so let's say January 2022, a cosmetic company could no longer test on animals after that date. So if they had cosmetics that were already made, those could already be sold, but anything after that date could no longer be sold. So, and we always have kind of a phase-in period, so companies will not be put in the position of just throwing away products and things like that. So the great thing about the Humane Cosmetics Act reintroduction was that we now have support of the Personal Care Products Council. And this is really huge because this is the largest trade organization of the personal care products industry and cosmetics. So the fact that we have their support is really powerful. And if it weren't for COVID, we probably could get this passed this year. At least I hope so. So we have so much support, and anyways, hopefully in 2021 we'll see a little progress. But this is just to show, this is like just a small sampling of the companies that are supporting the Humane Cosmetics Act. And again, this is not companies that are in the trade organization. These are independent companies that have said that they would endorse this legislation. So right now we have 313 independent companies that have endorsed the bill so far. And that's in addition to the over 600 companies that are members of the PCPC. And if you don't see your favorite company on there, I can't tell you when the last time is that this was actually updated. It's probably been a year or so. Just because it's so pretty and it's such a mess to have to insert logos into this. So we actually do have a full list, and I can follow up and send you guys a full list of companies that have endorsed the Humane Cosmetics Act.
Great. And I just need, we're about to, we all have class at 1:40 here. So I am going to just cut you off here.
No, that's fine.
See if you want to drop your email in the chat for all of our people here, they can reach out. And then if you want to share that list with me, oh, perfect. If you want to share that list with me, I'll distribute it on our student Facebook page here too, because I know a lot of people were interested and couldn't make the meeting. So
yes, great. Yeah, and I'll give you my last slide too. I'll send that to you just so you have it, because this is probably too big of a PowerPoint to send. But yes, thank you. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we.
That's okay. No problem. Does anybody have any questions at all before we quickly wrap up here? I know that it was quick. Okay. My one question is I always, buy vegan products and cruelty-free, but I did see L'Oreal has the little bunny that says cruelty-free. So that's not a Leaping Bunny product. L'Oreal's a pretty bad company, huh?
Well, Yeah, I mean, they're trying. So it's really crazy. L'Oreal is one of the companies that's working with us, but they have not yet made that commitment. So
Okay.
yeah, I hope to see some change. They are definitely not a Leaping Bunny or company yet, but they're not awful.
Okay.
They're trying. And again, if you see something that says that they're cruelty free, it is better than nothing.
Right.
But maybe just reach out to them and say, hey, are your individual ingredients tested on animals? Because that's a lot of time the problem.
Got it.
And oh, go ahead.
All right.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's it. I was just going to say thank you again. And if anybody has any more questions, obviously reach out to Michelle. And thank you so much for spending the last 30 minutes with us.
Yes, thank you. And I will tell you really quick, Rick Scott and Marco Rubio have not have not co-sponsored the Humane Cosmetics Act. So if you are a Florida resident, reach out to them. And I know you guys are right there in Tallahassee. So if you ever want a project to do,
Absolutely.
I can give you some tips. Yeah, we would love to see them co-sponsor this bill.
I think we would all love to do that here. At least the ones who are left here, we would all be interested in that. So.
All right, well, I can work with you with that. So I look forward to hearing from all of you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.